Namaskar, you're watching Webdunia English. My name is Runa, and it's said that when you're playing violin piece, you are a storyteller and you are telling a story. Whether this is correct or not, whether you're a storyteller or not, I mean, who else can explain more than Dr. L. Subramaniam Saab and Ambi? Very warm welcome to both of you, and it's really an honor to meet Dr. Sahab. How are you, sir?
Pleasure to meet you. Namaste. And well, answering your question is it is true. Every time in my case, when I start wherever I am, whether it is in India with a familiar audience or abroad where you are not familiar with the audience, the very first sound when you get it and that sound takes over after that, you go on a journey. Because almost the sound, it absorbs you, you become part of the sound. Nobody is bigger than music. Everybody is little piece in the music, whether it is audience, organizer, composer, player. If you happen to be the composer also, you become doubly involved as a player and a composer. So nobody is bigger than music. But what happens is the sound as it is takes over. So you started in a journey, depending on what experience you have had recently or what you feel, it becomes your own story and as an expression. For example, I was asked to play a concert immediately after, very close to, Vijay died, and I played a concert, which was very a depressing situation at that time. My sister told me that a lot of people, few of her friends who came to listen, told her, we were all sad, we all pretty much cried in the concert. We went to have a great concert and listen to him, but it was very, very powerful. We got involved. So what happens is ultimately your dream is that whatever you are feeling and emotionally, the story, whatever you, even though they may not know what your story is, that journey, that emotion because of the sounds, and each sound, it's when you think just as a note, it is a dead sound. But there are multi layers to each sound. When you hear the sound, there are multi layers, the extra dimension that creates the emotion. So first you have to feel that emotion, you have to feel the story, and after that, if it is powerful enough, the other side, who are sitting there, they also feel even without knowing, they either feel joy or depressed, or the whole story become unfolded in a different way. The same thing what I did for my mother, Fantasy on Vedic Chants. Nobody knew it was, it was written as a dedication to my mother, because that was the time when Maestro Zubin approached me to write a piece immediately after my mother died. He visited us in Los Angeles. But the thing is, at the time I didn't want to do it. My father, my guru, and everything mentor. So he said, "How can you say no to this? This is like the Carnatic music is going to be visible in a totally different platform with the New York Philharmonic playing and Zubin conducting. You should write the piece and dedicate it to mother." So I wrote the piece and dedicated to my mother, Fantasy and Vedic chant. The second movement is very, very painful for me also sometimes. When I play, I emotionally get totally involved because I feel like the spirits of my mother might be around, or she's there in the hall hearing things like that. So there are different stories for people who believe in these things. For me, I experience certain things when I play, which might be a particular story, particular experience, and that sound takes over. Then till that piece is over, especially when I do alap, sometimes I don't even realize who is next to me, who is playing with me, or sometimes I get, after finishing the concert, I completely blanked out because my mind is somewhere else. I forget my close musician's name sometimes. And Kavita and Ambi and Bindu tell that name, tell them, because I mean, so I know the guys or people who have been playing with me for so many years. But the power of sound, I'm saying, that power of sound which takes over, which puts your mind in another level, another state of mind. So to get back to your normalcy takes few hours.
Oh, oh my God. I mean, great. I didn't know this side of the concert or maybe musician. That's something people should know about it. Tell me, Andy, What is your take? What is the music right now, especially during the pandemic, where no one can go out, no one can have that Guru Shishya Parampara, or no one can have that one-on-one teaching? You have come up with something very new thing and very in thing for today's music. Can you explain something about your online classes and app?
Sure, yeah. I think probably when everything kind of started in March and April, all of us were a bit clueless as to what is going to happen next, and how do we kind of recreate that experience that a student has. And I think as time went on a little bit, we realized that you can't really recreate exactly what you do in a physical classroom, because that is a completely different experience. And I think if you try to do the same exact thing and you try to get the same exact experience, it's never going to work. So, but at the same time, I think we've really been lucky in that sense. When you look at the online classes and all of that, there have been so many amazing musicians, legendary musicians who have kind of been able to give their time and give their knowledge and expertise. So I think we've really been lucky. My parents, Usha Utupji, Anuj Jalota ji, Pankaj Udasi, all of these amazing people have kind of given their expertise. And for students all around the world, now they kind of have a platform where they can learn from these legends and all of that. So we've been really working to create this platform, and we created this platform on sapaindia.com, where kids can not only have these live interactions but also these recordings and these courses where they can learn whatever style of music, whatever style of art that they like from the best musicians out there.
That's beautiful.
Incidentally, and even before the pandemic, with Sapa, I think Bindu and Ambi, and we were all sitting together, and they started thinking about making the music accessible to everybody on online. Pandemic came later, but this process of trying to reach music to everybody and anybody at your doorsteps who are interested, because I strongly believe music is very, very important for intellectual, emotional, and spiritual and full growth of a human being as a human being. So it becomes part of the whole thing. It is not like music extracurricular activities. If people think like that, they are missing a whole lot of things. It's very, very important for intellectual, spiritual, psychological, emotional growth. And the music plays a major role, whether you are a musician or not. You don't have to be a musician, but music will become part of your life once you start getting into it. So I think making it available with different experts in different field, somebody might be interested in Carnatic violin, somebody might be interested in Anuj's, bhajan singing, or whatever it is. So making the courses available, the process started before pandemic. In the pandemic, it got consolidated and everything became ready. So we didn't plan because of the pandemic. That's what I'm trying to say. It was not planned, thinking that, it's going to happen, so we have to make an alternative thing.
Okay.
This was as a thing so that it is available to anybody in any parts of the world. So let us share. The Sapa can share whatever their thoughts and things like that. So Bindu and Ambi, we sat together, we started the process. They worked a lot on it to achieve, and thanks to many of our colleagues and friends who also gave their time and effort and made a wonderful presentation of respective compact forms of things what have been done by them.
Okay, since World Music Day is there, so I just want to know from both of you, sir, how do people find Indian musicians, especially people from a classical background, learning Carnataki or Hindustani classical? How do they perceive Indian artists? If you both can, because both of you have seen the world.
You're talking about the Westerners' thoughts on our music,
Exactly.
right?
How do they take the musicians and the music?
Initially, I'm talking about 70s and things like that, where early 70s and 80s, they thought Indian music was something like Indian class, Indian violin particularly was ethnic or folk music, somebody sitting on the floor and playing. So they never had the impression or imagination that it would be a classical music. So they thought it is like folk music and this is ethnic music, regional music, somebody sitting and playing on the floor. But it took a lot of effort to convert that mind, saying that it is one of the most sophisticated, probably the oldest classical system of music. If you see the history of music, before anything else happens, Samaveda is supposed to be the origin of South Indian music. Then it was Indian music originally till 12th, 13th century when the Mughals came, and
Yes,
then there was it branched into Hindustani
yes,
and South continued on the same thing. So it is not like today's folk music or something. This tradition has been before existing, much before the solid Western classical concept also was developed. So to for that, thanks to my father, because he said, being a Western instrument, when we play the violin, even though we believe there was a similar bow-stringed instrument, in Ravana time they mentioned one of the instrument which is similar to bow-stringed instrument, which have been modified, those days through Silk Road trades and everything. Things they took a lot of being modified, and also the Vienna got modified, Mridangam got modified, Tabla was created, and Sitar was created. So that Westerners might have taken that thought and made a such areas, and Amati might have perfected the art of violin making, which is lacking in India. But for them to think that this is a great classical music, we have to change, we have to create original techniques which doesn't exist in the West and which is totally, completely new techniques, new sound, giving out ornamentation, emotion, and emphasizing on spirituality. For him, each note was a Swaradevata for my father. So Professor Lakshminarayan used to say, don't treat a note of a raga like a note. It is a Swaradevata. So you have to give embellishment, ornamentation, and give the full dimension to the each notes that it become a beautiful swara devata, and these swaras make beautiful figure. So that was the concept. So once we start working on the technique, tonality, and virtuosity and things which they don't have it, they started taking us seriously. Then we collaborated with some of the greatest musicians of that time, like Lord Ekajumenimin or Ruggiero Ricci and some of the greatest violinists. Otherwise, they never ever collaborated with any Indian violinist because the impression was it is a folk ethnic instrument. So that got changed. Since then, one side with an orchestra, writing major orchestral thing with all the major orchestras, which brought the Westerners' attention, Western string players' attention, and brass players' attention, woodwinds. And the other side, collaborating with people like either, I was on a tour with Ravi and George Harrison, and also Stevie, guest appearing with Stevie Wonder or playing with Herbie Hancock or George Duke, these things that attracted and made the other jazz followers to realize this is a great system. And this could be a better platform also to add on to whatever is existing, to create another kind of global platform for global music. With that concept only, we started the global music concept in those days. I used to call it global music. At the time, global term was not there. In the 80s, we have had global music festival. So that when to get their attention, so classical music is not Western classical. It is one of the classical music, but they used to tend to put everything under the carpet, world music, where jazz, folk, Indian, classical, everything they put under one carpet. So we had to completely work forcefully to change that thought by writing books, by the television shows explaining and collaborating with some of the greatest jazz artists, greatest classical artists. That thought has changed. So now the whole impression of South Indian music or Indian violin, thanks to my father for his vision and technique and things like that, it is totally different. We play in all the major classical music festival and world music festival, not the just ethnic music festival. We play the classical music festival.
I mean, when I was just studying about you and doing my homework as a normal journalist, that time I just read that you even performed in the presence of our APJ Kalam Sahab. I mean, that is something give me a different kind of feeling. How was it? And as far as I know, he is for me, but he was a very great music lover, and he had a special knack for music also. You tell me, how was it for you?
Absolutely. At that time, also I think somebody mentioned that he used to play the veena as well, and he was a big music lover, but he was always such an inspiring person. I think he's one person who kind of when you walk into a room, you feel it. So it was an amazing experience playing for him. And then at the end, also he said some very nice things, and you know that sometimes when somebody says something, he's actually paid so much attention to all the details, and you know that he's a music lover because he starts talking about the raga that you were playing. He starts talking about a particular phrase that you played. So I was very shocked because obviously he is president. Even though he's sitting there, he must be thinking of 1,000 things. 100 people must be telling him something. But he's a very inspiring person, I think, and also like spending 5 minutes with him kind of changes your entire thought process in your life.
His energies you cannot forget. He is so energetic. Again, I'm saying he is. For me, he is still there, but I really love him and I think everybody loves him. Okay, last word for music. Sir, what is music for you? And Andy, tell me what is music word for you? So let's start with Sir. Sir, what is music word for you?
I always have said I'm zero without music. Music, what made me what I am, and especially the violin. My life will be totally incomplete without violin. And anything and everything, whether it is my emotional time or whether it's my happy time, whether I want something to be done, whether I'm going to some great saints, all has happened because of my violin and music. Everything I've got, because I remember a couple of saints telling me at one point after my father died, and sometime I almost want to stop playing the violin at that time. And then at the time, I think Viti said, let us start a Lakshmarana festival in the father's name, because your father wanted to, your vision was to have the Indian violin all over the world recognized as a great classical tradition. That was his dream. So all of a sudden, after playing New York Philharmonic everywhere, suddenly you stop, you're going back on what your father's dreams are. So we started the Lakshmarana Festival. Thankfully, this is the 30th year. Even during pandemic, we managed to do 2 years digitally, series of concerts presenting some of the greatest artists. But the whatever I've got, and I know whatever I might get in future, everything is because of my music, particularly because of my violin. Thanks to my father, Guru, Professor Lakshmi Narayana.
Andy, you're the new generation. Tell me what is music for you?
I think for me, music is a companion, and I think it's something very important to kind of express yourself. And I think that's something that my dad has always kind of taught us. So it's not just to kind of keep you happy or express what you're when you're in a different state of mind, but it's very important to kind of have that companionship with music where you really have different pieces of music that can make you feel a little better. And I think that is also something that we've been trying to do with the kids that we work with. Now in Sapa, we work with around 30,000 kids. So there, we really try to make sure that music is a companion for every one of them, whether they become musicians or not. I think it's important that you find music that resonates with you, whatever style of music from whatever part of the world. I think it can really be something special in your life.
And I feel all the Sapa efforts they have done, people utilize that because it is a golden opportunity for them. They can't, if you want to go and listen to 10 different great artists, you have to go to different countries. Financially, it is not possible. And when you go there, they should be performing in that city that day. And then you should be financially strong enough to buy a ticket, and the tickets are available. So here, what Sapa has done, created courses, not focus on playing, but teaching courses by all these legendary people all in one platform, which is coming to your door. So I hope and feel that the benefit of music and the beauty of music reaches each and every individual in our country and people of our origin in different countries. I think it will be that impact. They may not know immediately, but later part of their life, what this gives us a plus point, they will want their children to learn music. They will start forcing their children to learn music, but takes that to a different level. I wish and hope that people utilize this Sapa effort to utilize all these artists, learn from them.
That's beautiful. And we wish too that whatever you said and whatever you wish, that the new generation should be able to understand and grasp it and live with this beautiful thought. Thanks a lot for joining us. Thank you.